I want to talk about the border, something very concerning to AMAC members and
Right.
Americans. Some reports by agents and reporters are telling us that over 200,000 illegal aliens crossed the border last month alone. Now, during your presidency, you took unprecedented action, declaring it a national emergency. You built 500 miles of a wall. What additional steps will you take as a second term, to secure the border and prevent what we're seeing?
So I had a lot of things. Number one, we built a tremendous amount of wall, and we got Mexico. When I say Mexico to pay, they paid much more. Mexico paid for a lot of it in the sense that we got 28,000 soldiers from Mexico free of charge. Now, wasn't that easy? I told them, if you don't do it, we're going to have to tariff all your products coming into the United States. And they said, we would love to do it. But they gave us 28,000 soldiers. That was a big thing. We had the safest border in history. We also ended the catch and release in the United States. We had catch and release, but it was into Mexico. Catch and release is a disaster. Where they catch somebody, it can be a convicted horror show, and we release them. And they say, come back in 5 years for a trial. Nobody ever comes back. So we ended that. We had a stay in Mexico policy that nobody thought we could get. And we just had more than anything else, we built 561, they said 450, but it's 561 miles of wall. We were going to add another 200. I said we were going to do 400. We did 561. We're going to add another 200. And this is fighting McConnell and Paul Rhino, okay? I got to fight Rhino, and I had to fight McConnell. And probably just as hard as I had to fight Nancy Pelosi in many ways. It was terrible. But we took it out of the military. The military has been great because I considered it an invasion into our country. And we built all of that while we were ready to do another 200 miles. It was all bought. You saw the steel. It's all over the place. Now I heard they were selling it for 10 cents on the dollar. Right. And it's perfect. You know, it's exactly what the Border Patrol. I went to the Border Patrol. I thought we'd have concrete plank, 40 or 50 or 60 feet high, like on a parking garage, concrete plank. They said, sir, it's no good. It doesn't work because you have to be able to see through it. We need steel, as opposed to concrete. We actually need both. And we designed a wall that they wanted. I didn't want to have any excuses. So it's steel, concrete, and rebar. And on top, we had an anti-climb thing, a piece of steel, which is anti-climb. And we had mountain climbers come in and try and climb. And we actually had people that deal with drugs come in and try and climb it. And it was the hardest one to do. It was great. So we built it, and then we had a terrible, terrible thing happen in the election. We were going to add 200 miles. It was all bought. It would have taken 3 weeks to put up. And instead of 3 weeks to put up, they actually took it away, and some of it has been just stolen, gone. And you can imagine the best wall you can buy, the most expensive stuff you can buy, and it's been stolen in a lot of cases. And it's been taken away. So they now say we're going to build 20 miles. The problem with 20 miles, it's nothing. 20 miles is nothing. There are certain areas, the reason I added 200 is because when you did the 561 miles, all of a sudden, it's like water. All of a sudden, there are other places that didn't have a problem, but now all of a sudden they have a problem. So we're going to have that done in a period of 3 weeks. Everything was built. Everything was done. The hard part was done. All we had to do is place it. And that was getting ready to be done, and then we had that ridiculous result in the election, and it just sat there. And now I hear they sold a lot of it for a very small amount of money. Now they say we're going to build it, but they're only going to build 20 miles, and they probably won't even build that. These contractors must have made a fortune. They'll get more money for not building the wall. They say, what do you mean? I mean, I know the contractor world. They'll say, what do you mean? We spent all this money to get... We need much more money not to build it than to build it. That's what they do. And I guarantee there's nobody in Biden's group that's negotiating. I hear they made a fortune. And it's too bad. We would have had 750 miles of wall. But we have we have a tremendous amount. We built a lot. And that's what gave us the safety. And also Mexico was great. The president of Mexico, really, he's a socialist, but you can't have everything. And we got along great. He's a fantastic man. And he gave us 28,000 soldiers, and we had the best border, and now you have the worst border, I think, in history.